You're not fat, you're not skinny, but you still hate how you look. By the end of this video, you're gonna learn a step-by-step guide of going from skinny fat to fit. And believe me, I've been there, and there's nothing more frustrating than looking super small in your shirt and then taking the shirt off and having a big belly and not being happy with how you look. So today, I'm gonna explain to you everything you need to know about going from skinny fat to extremely fit. When I was skinny fat, I used to train 5 times a week, and no matter how much I dieted, I used to have small arms, flat chest, and that stubborn belly fat that would never go away. I remember waking up one day feeling fat and deciding to diet, and then the next day waking up feeling a bit lean and small and deciding to start a muscle building phase. And then I did this repeatedly and I ended up achieving nothing. If this sounds like you, listen up. The first thing you need to do if you're skinny fat is to understand what that means. This means that you have low muscle mass and high percentage of body fat. So you can tackle this from a couple of angles. Ideally, if you start a muscle building phase while you're skinny fat, you will build a lot of muscle mass. But the problem here is one thing. You're going to realize that there's no week-to-week changes, and psychologically this will feel very difficult. So you won't be able to see visual changes, and you'll have to just understand that 6 months later you'll have to diet in order to see those changes. So for most people, this would not be a great idea. A better idea when you're skinny fat is to actually start with a fat loss phase, but you need to break it into 3 phases. The first phase, you're going to focus on fat loss. But a really important thing to remember in this phase is that you're not dieting to see your abs. You're just dieting to lose a little bit of body fat. So let's say you have 5 to 6 kgs to lose. Get down 5 to 6 kgs and then stop the fat loss phase there. So this initial fat loss phase serves 2 purposes. Firstly, if you're lean, you will be able to accept more calories because you're not going to gain a lot of body fat, and your cells will be more sensitive to insulin or carbohydrates, which are extremely important when you're trying to build muscle mass. But the second thing, and in my opinion the most important thing, is the psychological boost that you'll be getting. So even when you lose some body fat, you're going to see a bit more definition in your muscles, and you won't feel like you're just doing everything but not seeing results, as opposed to a muscle gain phase. Now the first phase, which is the fat loss phase, is going to last for about 6 to 8 weeks. Once you're done with this fat loss phase, stop there and then do something called a reverse diet. This basically means that you're going to build your calories up while making sure that you're not gaining all the weight back. So the best thing to do is to start with building up your calories to 200 calories extra and then monitoring how your weight moves across the week. Best thing to do is to actually measure your weight across 7 days and then take the average of the week. This way you'll make sure that you're not regaining any body fat. Now once you do the reverse diet and you build your calories up to maintenance, which basically means that your body will not be gaining body fat or losing body fat, that means that you're at maintenance calories. And then now it's time to start the muscle building phase. Muscle building phase, you need to spend at least 4 to 6 months focused on building muscle mass, and you need to increase your calories by 200 calories more than your maintenance, also known as a calorie surplus. By the end of the video, I will explain to you exactly how to calculate your fat loss phase and your muscle gain phase. 6 months later, once you've built muscle mass and you're happy with your size, now it's time for fat loss phase 2. This phase is purely focused on getting shredded, so it's going to be a bit longer than the fat loss phase 1. It's going to last around 3 to 4 months, and you should keep going until you start seeing your abs and finally getting rid of the stubborn belly fat that has been with you your whole life. Now, how do you know how much calories you need to lose body fat and to gain muscle mass? First of all, there are loads of calculators that you can use on Google, but the main thing you need to do, and the simplest thing, is just multiply your body weight at the moment by 25. This will give you how much calories you need in order to lose body fat. The second thing that you need to remember is calories are king, protein is queen. So you're going to calculate your protein intake, which should be ideally anything between 1.5 to 2 grams per kg. Once you get your calories and protein, all you need to do is just focus on hitting those 2 targets and then hit your carbs and fats targets depending on how the day feels like. Some days you may feel like you want to have more fat, some days you will feel like you have more carbs. Studies have shown that if the calories and protein are equated, it doesn't matter if you go higher carb or higher fat as long as you hit those 2 targets. And of course, while losing body fat, it's extremely important to make sure that you are spending enough energy and increasing your total daily energy expenditure, which basically means your step count. So aim for anything between 8 to 10,000 steps per day. And one really important thing is you need to measure your weight every day and take the average of the week. And on week-to-week basis, you need to be losing anything between 0.8 to 1% of your body weight. Once you lost body fat and your goal is to gain muscle mass, all you need to do is multiply your current body weight by 30. This will give you the calorie surplus that you need in order to gain muscle mass. And of course, a very important thing while gaining muscle mass is progressive overload, which means that you're gonna select a rep range of 6 to 10 reps on each exercise. Every week you'll aim for the higher end of reps, which means that you will go for 10 reps, for example, on a chest press. If you're able to hit the 10 reps, go for the heavier weight. If you're still unable to hit the 10 reps, go for a lighter weight and make sure that you get to the 10 reps. This is the best way to apply progressive overload. Just focus on how many reps you can do, and then every week either increase the number of reps or increase the load. And of course, both phases, whether it's fat loss or muscle gain, you need to train at least 3 to 4 times a week and train hard enough in order to maintain muscle mass if you're in a fat loss phase and gain muscle mass, create that stimulus for the body to respond to if you're gaining muscle. So if you're tired of being skinny fat, follow this 3-step process and believe me, in 1 year, you'll be in amazing shape.